Hey everybody, so I'm doing a video to talk about the Sparkinator. Um, I got Sparky when he was 4 years old back in 2016, and he had he was the sweetest pup. And I remember bringing him home, and first thing he did was run to the backyard, and like he knew exactly where the back door was at, and he'd never been there before, and he ran to the back door, ran outside, and started slinging my mama flowers that was in the backyard, because my mom, used to like garden a lot, and she had like fake flowers and she had real flowers. But for some reason, Sparky liked the fake flowers, and he take them, he slang them all over the yard. And he used to chase squirrels. He loved chasing squirrels and birds. Like, he used to be in the backyard, just thought he was King Sparky. So this is where King Sparky come from. I call him King Sparky because even though he was a 5-pound Chihuahua, he thought he was bigger than life. Like, he just thought he was a big 20-pound Rottweiler or something. But he was not a vicious dog. He was very sweet and very loving and a kind dog. And all he wanted was chicken and head pets. That's all he wanted, and life was great for him. Me and Albert, we got him at the ASPCA, and we was looking for a small dog, and we was walking through, and we just saw Sparky just sitting. They had him in a cardboard box, and they had him on a little like dog bed, and he was just laying there, just as cute as he want to be, with his little gremlin ears. And Albert picked him up, and Albert said, "I want him." Albert was like, "He is so adorable," and I was like, "Yeah, he is," because I wanted a Chihuahua. Because I remember, I was like, when we was talking about getting a dog together, and I was like, well, if I get a dog, I want a small dog. He was used to like big dogs, and so but I was like, no, I don't want no big dog. I like the small dogs because they're like babies, and they're so cute, and they're easy to take care of, and they're more easier to take care of than the big ones. I had a medium-sized dog once. I had a child mix. My dad bought him for me on my 16th birthday. His name was Missy 2. Because Missy 1 was my mom's Chihuahua when we lived on Sacramento. So Missy 2 was my child mix that I got when I was for my 16th birthday, that my dad had bought for me. And he was a medium-sized dog, but it was a she. She was a lovable dog too. But I was like, when me and I was talking about getting a dog together, I was like, I'd rather have a small dog because it's more easier for me to, manage and take care of. They're just so adorable, and you can dress them up like real cute and stuff. And so we walking through, we met Sparky. They put you in a room where you like talk to him, see if you comfortable with each other, and he was just so sweet. He was a little nervous at first because he didn't know us. But as soon as I got him, because first thing we did, we took him to the park, and he was nervous. He didn't want to walk, and he was still malnourished. Like, he didn't you could see his ribs. And we took him to the park. That was the first place we took him, and it was just like a whole new experience for him, because I don't think where he came from, I don't think he ever been to a park. I really think he spent I really think he spent his 4 years in the basement. I don't think he ever went anywhere. And some kind of way he got out, and that's, you know, that was all she wrote. You know, he got captured by the ASPCA. God made a way for me and Albert to get him and meet him, and he spent the rest of his life with us. And I think they had him in a basement before me, because all of his life he was scared of basements. Like, if I were to take him to a basement, he would have a full-on panic attack. And he didn't like long car rides. If I take him, like, if it's more than like 30 minutes in the car, like, he's gonna have a panic attack. He'll start barking like non-stop. So a lot of times I would have to leave him at, you know, home or with my mom, and I didn't want to leave him, you know, at home, but I knew he didn't like car rides, and I wasn't going to make him have, you know, more anxiety. I left him where he was comfortable at, you know, I left him where he felt safe at, because I knew he had a lot of anxiety, and I knew he had trust issues. And he felt comfortable with my mom, and he felt comfortable at my mom's house. He felt comfortable, you know, with me at my house or my apartment, wherever apartment house I was staying in, and at the time. And he felt comfortable. So as I always left him where he felt comfortable at. So when he was young, he was just the happiest, you know, little dog. I wish I could take him everywhere, but I can only take him short distances. Like, if I was just going to the store, you know, that was like maybe... He really didn't like car rides to the store. I'm just going to be honest. He really didn't. And he would throw temper tantrums then. And it was kind of hard to manage a dog that just... He would throw himself into a fit. And I used to get scared, because I knew he had a heart murmur. And I knew that if he kept working himself up, he was going to either have a seizure or something worse. So a lot of times I just let him stay at home. But towards the end of his life, as he got older, I started noticing that he didn't mind the short car rides. So I had started taking him to like Snooks with me, or Walmart, or Family Dollars. He loved, in the end, going to Petco. He never played with toys. So I'm thinking that when he was born, or when he was a baby, they never gave him toys. So when I tried to introduce him to toys, and he would literally turn his nose up at it and walk away. He would look at me like, this is beneath me. Like, he did not like toys. But he did occasionally like to use them as pillows. So I would make sure that I would give him the soft toys, so that he could lay his head on and like rest his head on, you know, his body on. Let's see. He about maybe, let me see. So when he was about 4, when I got him, when he got about 10, I started to notice that he was having like a little trouble, you know, going up steps. He had no problem like going down steps, but he started having problems like going up steps. So when I took him to the vet, there was like he had arthritis in his back legs, but it wasn't bad. It was like the beginning stages. And it was like older, you know, Chihuahuas tend to have arthritis and heart problems. And he had a heart murmur since the day I got him. So I'm happy that he lived as long as he did, because most Chihuahuas who have heart problems, heart murmurs, heart disease, or anything dealing with their heart, they don't live that long, you know. And but Sparky lived to be 12 years old, so that is a blessing in itself. And he so when he was about 10, I noticed it. So I started, you know, try to make him comfortable. I tried to make him comfortable, help him up the stairs. But he was a very independent type of dog. So even he didn't really, sometimes he didn't want me to help him. Like he wanted to do it himself. And so I would let him. But eventually I just stopped letting him go up the steps, and I started just carrying him up the steps, because it was coming to the point to where he would, like he was going to fall backwards. And so I had to catch him, like, you know, I didn't want him to hit his head or anything like that, because when he was 4, when I got him when he was 4, not only did he have a heart murmur, but he had issues with having seizures. I would say since he was 4, all the way up until he was 12, he had about maybe 2 or 3 seizures a year. Except for this year. This year, he only had 1. He only had 1 seizure. You know, no, I take it back. He had 2. He had 1 at the beginning, and then he had 1 at the beginning of this year, and then he had the final one that, you know, ultimately took him out on the 25th. He started when he was like maybe 11 and a half. He started having problems walking without falling. And I mean, yeah, walking. He had a start problem. He had to walk. He was walking and he was falling. And he'll fall, but then he'll get back up. When he turned 12 this year is when he started having problems with falling and not being able to get back up. And he had a bark that, I don't know what it was, but it was like a bark that I knew he was in trouble. It was like I knew his barks. Like I knew when he was just barking at his food, but I also knew when he was calling me or wanting me to come get him. And whenever I would hear that like type of intense bark, I would go and then like see where he was at, and then he would be like on the ground and trying to get up, and then, you know, couldn't get up. And I would help him up, and then he'll get up and he'll trot off and go to his food, give him something to eat, or go to his food bowl, or give him something to drink, or he'll go and then take naps. The older he got, the more naps. He started liking more naps. He's like sleeping, he liked being comfortable. And he was like one of a kind dog, because he was the only dog I ever had that made up his bed. Like, he fluffed his bed out, he fluffed his pillows out, and he would wrap himself up in his blankets, like completely, like he would wrap his head up and everything. Like he made sure he was comfortable and warm. And he liked fans. He liked sleeping on the fans. Like if I had a box fan on the floor, like he would sleep under that. And his favorite foods was chicken, but he also liked beef. He liked hamburgers. He liked McDonald's French fries. He didn't like nobody French fries except for McDonald's. He turned his nose up at the other French fries, but McDonald's was his go-to. He liked McDonald's fries. He liked He did not like pup cups. I used to try to get him pup cups at Starbucks, but he turned his nose up at it. He didn't like it. He was a picky eater. He 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 did like bacon when I was eating pork. I stopped eating pork years ago. Just because it was raising my pressure up, and biblically you're not supposed to eat it. So I try to live my life as close to God as possible, you know. Let's see. When he was younger, he liked going outside on the back. He liked playing in the back. But then when he started getting older, I say about 10, when he got about 10, that's when he stopped wanting to go outside. He liked staying in the house. He did not, he would look at me like, why is he going outside? Like, he stopped wanting to go outside at about 10 years old. He liked being in the house. He liked following behind me, seeing what I was doing. He would always go out the bathroom door. Like if I went in the bathroom and if I stayed too long, he would start literally crying and yipping and barking at the door. And my mom, she used to be like, he is really crying for you to come out the bathroom. And then when I come out the bathroom, he's happy. He's tiptoeing around. He tip tap, like he used to tip tap and then do a twirl. And he would stomp his feet. Like he used to like it when I would come out the bathroom or when I would come like in the house, like he would be happy to see me and he would just stomp his feet. Like I think he kind of had a little bit of an attachment to me. Well, I would say he had a lot of attachment to me because he did not like to go with me in cars, but if I left him for too long, he would be at the door looking for me. And he would stay at the door until I came back, you know. This is when he was younger. When he got older, it's like he knew I was coming back, so he just was like, he would wait for me either in his bed or in the living room on the carpet. Like he would just curl up and wait for me. And when I come in, then he was happy, tiptoeing, doing his twirl. He did his little dance. He'll do his zoomies, you know, running back and forth through the house. Happy, tail wagging. But yeah, so he had arthritis for a while. I think, yeah, he had it since he was 10. It's very possible he could have had it before then, though. Because dogs usually don't tell you when they're in pain. Like, they can't, you know, it's like really no signs of it, not unless they're like in severe pain. So, about maybe 2 months ago, about maybe 2 months ago, I started seeing signs that he was getting ready to die, and I didn't want to accept it. You know, I took him to the vet, and they was just like, it was his arthritis. They really did. I don't know. They just really didn't. I guess wouldn't tell me he was dying, but he started to. I knew he was dying when he stopped eating, and he had lost a lot of weight. He was eating and he was still losing weight. That's when I knew that something was wrong. And I was thinking maybe he had a tapeworm or a parasite or something, but then I never saw any worms or anything like that when he would go poop, or when sometimes he would throw up. I never saw worms in any of that. So I would think like that he had worms in that. If he had worms, I was going to get blood work done on him, but he died before I could get the blood work done. Um, he um he about 2 months before his passing, I noticed that he was eating but still losing weight, and he was already a 5 pound dog. He was kind of chubby because he had like two. He was fat like me. He had two chins, and he was fat and happy, and until he wasn't, he was eating. He still had an appetite, but he was losing weight, and he started being more clingy to me. He started. He'll just come by my foot and just lay his body or his head on my leg or on my foot, and he had never did that before. Like, he'll come up to me and like lick my foot or lick my ankle, but he never laid on it, before. Like, he started to just lay on it, and it was like he was contemplating life like real hard when when he would just lay on my. And I was like, yeah, I think something is up. It was weird, and then like the week of him dying, I was taking him outside. He had stopped walking, and I knew that was also a problem. He had stopped walking and he had stopped pooping. Like, he started having bladder issues when he was about 10. So that's when I started buying him the Pampers, because he couldn't hold his pee, and he would just pee everywhere. So I was like, well, I looked up doggy Pampers, and I said, oh well, let me get him some doggy Pampers. And so I got him that, and that worked for, I don't know, until he passed. But I noticed like the week, 2 weeks, the week of him dying and a week before he died, I noticed that he was pooping less. Like, he would go a whole day without pooping, but he would pee still, but he was not pooping. And he would just lay in his bed. And I thought that was just strange, because he, up until that 2 week mark, even when he was sick and not feeling well and he had the arthritis, like, whenever I moved, he moved. When I got up in the morning, he got up in the morning. He stayed up until I went to bed. He liked getting tucked in the bed. Like, he would stay up and wait for me to say bedtime. And when I would say it's bedtime, like, he would perk up, his ears would perk up, and I would tuck him in, and it was just so cute, though, because he liked me tucking him in. He didn't want Albert or nobody else tucking him in. Albert tried to tuck him in, and he would look at Albert and he would look at Albert, he'll turn his head and then start barking for me until I come in there and tuck him in. Then when I tuck him in, he would literally go and then lay his head on his paw and go to sleep. He was the cutest little freaking dog. And so, but that week of him dying, a week before that, he would not get up, and he was getting to the point to where he was getting weak because he had stopped eating. He had stopped eating. First, he stopped eating the hard food, and then I started giving him the soft food. He was eating that for about 3 or 4 days, but then he stopped. And I would try to feed it to him, but I would try to feed it to him, and he would eat a little bit of it to satisfy me. He would look at me like I don't want this, and then he'll just sniff it a little, and then and then he'll take a few bites just so I leave him alone, and and then he'll go and then lay back down, so. And then the week of him dying, I remember that Monday I took him to the vet because he had stopped eating, and I'm like, why is he not eating? Why is he losing weight? And why is he sleeping more? Like he's not following me up like he normally do. He'll come check on me. Like if I stayed in the living room a little bit too late, he'll get up and he'll come check on me. He'll peep his head around. He would peep his head around the corner, check on me, come up to me, lick my ankle, and then go back and then lay back down. But normally he would lay by my feet until I got up to go to bed, and then he'd come trotting up behind me, tip-tapping up behind me. And so I could tuck him in. But before he died, I guess he just started tucking himself in. And I was like, oh, you take yourself to bed now, Sparky. And he would look at me, he would give me the most saddest look, like he knew he was dying. And he was like, and I really think he stuck around for me. But that week of him dying, that Monday, I took him to the vet, and she did not want to tell me that he was dying. Like, I knew he was dying. I wish she could have just came out and said it, But she did not want to tell me that he was dying. She just was like, she gave me the most saddest look, and but she wouldn't say anything, and I'm just like, why is she looking at me like that, But in the back of my head, I just knew that she knew he was dying, and she just didn't know how to break it to me. And she checked his heart and everything, and she said his heart is like really bad, and she just was like, it wasn't beating. It wasn't beating right. And she said, well, because I thought he had a cold. My naive self, even though I knew he was dying, like I thought maybe he had a cold or that he had like problems with his teeth again. But then when I think back on it, I'm like, even when he had the toothache, he still ate. He ate the hard food and the soft food. And so then, because I was like, well, maybe it's his teeth. And she was like, it could be. And then she was like, he do have a loose tooth. But she looked at his gums, and she looked at me, and then she like put her head down. And she was like, she was just like, she knew something, she just didn't want to tell him. And so, she was like, well, I can give him some antibiotics. She gave him some antibiotics, all right. Them antibiotics made him lethargic. I looked up what the side effects were. And the side effects was he would get real lethargic, and they wouldn't eat anymore. And so he was, and I was just like, why did she give him that? Because I was telling her that he was already sleeping more and he wasn't eating. So it's like, why would she give him something? Why would she give him an antibiotic that would make him sleep more and not eat more, But I guess she was just trying to take him out, She was just like, he in pain, I'm gonna ease the suffering, But she could have told me that, I just wish she had told me that. And so that day, the same day that she gave him the antibiotic, he got sleepy and he like literally fell asleep on my chest. And like he literally like put his head back and just put his head on my chest. And I thought that was odd. And I'm like, why is he doing this? And then so I took him home and I took him home and then he got up to get some food maybe once or twice after that. But it was more like he'll take a couple of bites and then he'll just go lay back down. That morning that I took him to the vet, he did the same thing. Like he'll take a couple of bites and then go lay back down. But prior to that, he eat the whole thing. Like he eat the whole bowl. But when he started doing that, it was just little signs just letting me know, like, he knew. And so, the day before he died, I was taking him outside, because at this point, he had stopped getting up to even pee, or even go out, want to even go outside or eat. So, I was carrying him outside, and he gave me a look like, the best way I could describe it is if you ever seen someone dying, like a person dying, and they look at you, but they're not looking at you. It's like they looking far off somewhere, like they see something else. Like it looked like they're in awe of something. Like they see something. They're looking at you, but they're looking past you. That's the look he gave me. He gave me the look of a dying person. He looked past me like he was in awe or something. And he looked at me like, he looked past me like he was looking at something beautiful. And I believe he was looking at God. God was coming back to get him. Even all the way up till he died, even though his body had stopped working, he had the brightest eyes. He had light and brightness in his eyes until the day he died. That morning, I would not that morning, that night. Well, it was morning. It was like three something in the morning, and I checked on him. I looked over in his bed, checked on him. And I said goodnight, Sparky. And, patting him. And then a couple minutes later, he started having a seizure. And I was like, I know this seizure's finna kill him because he was already sick. And I got Albert up. We rushed him to the emergency vet. And he started breathing out his mouth. And they was like, it's nothing we can do but make him comfortable. Because he's about to die. They said dogs don't breathe out of their mouths. Not unless they're hot or they're about to die. And the condition that he was, he was already sick. He couldn't even lift up his head no more. That was just like the most, her main thing would be to put him to sleep. Because he was suffering, after that seizure. And I walked over to him. And because the whole time I was holding him in the car, he locking eyes with me. He's looking at me like intensely, like he's about to die. And he wanted me to know it. Like he didn't want to leave me, but he had to go. It was that type of look he was giving me. And then when I walked, around the table that he was on, he gave me that look again. One tear came out of his eye, and he put a smile on his face. I wish I took a picture of that moment, but I was so sad and distraught. I was not thinking of getting a picture of that, but Albert saw it and the doctor saw it. Albert said, "Look, he crying." The doctor came over, and she took her finger and she wiped his tear, and she patted him on the face, and he put a smile on his face. He died with a smile on his face and with his eyes open. He couldn't move anymore after the seizure. Just completely, he was dying slowly. He was having a hard time breathing. And so they took us back in the other room, let us say our goodbyes, and then they came back. We pushed the button for them to come back in when we was ready. And then they gave him the medicine through a catheter on his little arm, and he was looking at me the whole time. He looked at me, and he had a smile on his face. And I got a picture of that. I think I put it on Facebook. But yeah, the only time he had that, he would smile. But the only time he would smile is like when he was happy, like we was doing something that was making him happy around the house or something. Or when I would pick him up, and like when I would, he was happy to see me, he'd put that smile on his face. He did that at the end. And it was more so like letting me know it was okay to let him go. Like he had to go, and I had to just let him go. And he was letting me know it was okay. Because I did not want to put him to sleep, but I did not want him to suffer either. I knew if I had brought him home that night, he would eventually die, but he would have died in pain. Because that seizure that was the last seizure. And I knew eventually the seizure would probably take him out, but he was dying before the seizure though, so I just knew that seizure, he was already sick, and so I'm like, yeah, I knew he wasn't going to bounce back from that, and the doctor said he wasn't going to bounce back. The vet said he wasn't going to bounce back from that. It was like, they were like, we sorry to tell you, but he's dying, the first vet didn't want to tell me that, but the emergency vet, they told me, they were like, he dying, One of the nurses, she started crying, so she had to walk out. And it was so hard to let him go because he was my buddy, he was my friend, but I also know I was doing him a kindness, because that would have been so, my nose was stopping up. My hair. That would have been so mean of me to take him home knowing he was in pain, and knowing that he was that sick. Like, that would have been cruel of me to do that to him. And I loved him enough to let him go, and I knew that he was going back to God, because that's where all animals go. All animals go back to God. And so yeah, I miss my little buddy. I miss him terribly. Nobody can ever replace the Sparkster, you know. I'm eventually gonna give me another Chihuahua, you know, but no, you know, no dog I ever get after this point will ever replace the Sparkster. He was loved everywhere. His groomers loved. I still not have told his groomer that he passed. I know she was gonna be so devastated because she loved him so much. She said every time she see him, she was like, Sparky. She was like, Sparky. Like, she was just so happy to see him. And she said she loved him because she loved senior dogs. She was like, senior dogs like the best, which they are. Like, he was a senior. He was losing his eyesight. He had arthritis. The heart murmur was getting worse as he got older. And then, you know, he was falling more. He couldn't get up. And poor baby, you know, I couldn't let him suffer, you know, and especially when he got to the point to where he just couldn't even walk anymore, get out of the bed, you know, out of his bed. I mean, but I spoiled him. He had everything. Everything you want. He had his own little doggy apartment. He had his own little doggy. He had his bed. He had 2 beds. He could choose. Well, at first he had 3 beds. But he preferred just 2. Because he never used the 3rd one. So I was like, well, just let me give him just 2 beds. He could choose what he wanted. He had food. He ate all day long. I mean, whatever I was eating, he was eating, you know. You know, I just gave him 2 peas and a biscuit. We got church chicken. We got a Kentucky Fried. He loved chicken, so I would make sure I gave him. He had chicken, chicken was his favorite. Like, he would go crazy over some chicken, you know. And we used to joke like he's a black dog, you know, because he loved him some fried chicken. You know? And so yeah, he had everything he wanted, ever needed. You know, he was loved, he was spoiled. And my mama always be telling me, she's like, you spoiled it, dog. I said, well, who else gonna do it? You know, like, I gotta show him love, you know. And he was attached to me. I was attached to him. You know, that was my first son. I always say that's my first son. You know, like he was, even though he was a dog, like, you know, he was still my first son. My first son. You know. So I'm gonna keep his clothes and stuff. I said I was gonna keep that. You know, for when I do have kids. I don't know when I'm gonna have kids. I'm kind of waiting right now, but eventually I am going to have kids. Probably this year, next year. I was never one to really want kids anyway. Like, if you ask my friends from high school, I'm still friends with them. They'll tell you. They'll be like, Teresa was the only one in our group that said she wanted to be 40 years old when she have kids. And I was 8. My friends was like 18, 19. They was like, we gonna have kids while we young. I was like, I'm having kids when I get old, when I get 40 years old. I said, so I guess my prediction came true, you know, because I'm 40, you know. And so, yeah, I was like, I guess I probably have kids 41, 42, maybe this year. I don't know. But when I do, you'll know. Because I'm going to go all out. No. I'm going to spoil I'll spoil my kids the way I spoil my dog. You know, Sparky was spoiled, you know. And I made sure everybody else spoiled them too, you know, like. But he was a very lovable dog. Like, he was cute and he was lovable. Like, how could you not spoil him? He was not aggressive at all. Sparky was a lover, not a fighter. He loved people. Except He didn't like other dogs too much, but he liked people, he never tried to bite other dogs, but like if other dogs come around him, he'll look at them like, get away from me, and he'll he was bougie, like he'll walk away from them. He'll look at them, roll his eyes, and walk away from them. My mama said, she said, I ain't never seen a dog roll their eyes. And she said, I ain't never seen a dog do it to a Sparky. I said, Sparky, he was one of a kind. He had a personality that was one of a kind. If you met Sparky, you're not gonna forget him. I'm gonna tell you, you're not gonna forget Sparky. He had a one of a kind personality. So it was just sad to see him not be up and get around and walk and twirl like he would do his little happy twirls. It was just sad not to see him do that no more. And I'm gonna miss him because it's empty without him. It feels empty without him. Like, I'm just so used to him following up behind me. I'm used to taking him, with me places. I'm used. The park just not gonna be the same. Going to the park is not gonna be the same because I used to take him to me with the park, and we would feed the ducks together, and we would eat chips and soda on the picnic blanket, and he would bark at the wind and the squirrels, and yeah, but I'm also happy he's not in pain and he's with God, so it's kind of bittersweet. I wish he was with me, but not if he's in pain. I would rather much for him to be with God, where there's no more death, no more pain, no more tears, So he's happy and running in fields of gold with God, with Jesus. I know Jesus got him. I know Jesus is protecting him, and I know he's happy. He gonna wait for me. But yeah, I think that's about it. I know I talked a lot. It's like I did not know I was going to talk this long. So if you made it this long with me, thank you. I appreciate you listening to me. I appreciate you. I also appreciate the people who, gave me condolences. And I appreciate prayers, because losing a dog is really sad. It hits you different. I'm not going to lie. It hits different than... It kind of hits you different because dogs... I don't know. It's like, animals innocent. So it kind of... When you spit years with this animal, it's like an emotional support animal, and you're feeding it and taking care of it, and you build your whole life around this one animal, and then it's not there no more. Yeah, the grief kind of hits you different, It hits you. But yeah, I'm gonna miss little buddy, but I'm glad he's not in pain anymore, and I'm glad he's with God. So he doing better than me, now. I got arthritis, So he doing better than me. Also, in honor of my pup, I'm going to go on a weight loss journey, and I'm gonna lose 100 pounds. So if you're not following me on Instagram at Signs of Life 84, follow me on Instagram at Signs of Life 84 because it's all lowercase letters. Because I think the picture, the same picture as my Facebook picture. Excuse me. Follow me on there because that's where I'm going to post my updates. I may post some updates on Facebook, but mainly it's probably going to be on Instagram. Instagram and YouTube. So if you don't follow me on YouTube, go follow me on YouTube too, because on there I am On the Road to Righteousness, I believe. I think that's the account. On the Road to Righteousness, because that's where I do my Bible study videos. So probably gonna post it on there too. Also, new Bible study videos is coming up this week. I was going to do it last week, but I was grieving for my for my fur baby. But new videos are going to come this week, and on the book of Acts. So yeah. Also, I know you probably have heard it before in my other Bible study videos, but me and my brother are going to team up with White Jesus and some other religious leaders around city, and we are going to be spreading the word of God to everyone that we meet, and it's going to be very joyous and happy. So also stay tuned to my YouTube for that, because I'm most likely going to post my Bible studies on YouTube, and my weight loss journey will be on YouTube and Instagram, maybe Facebook. I don't know if I may share it to Facebook. I may share it to Facebook. I may share it to Facebook too. Just so I could be inspiration to somebody. So I'm the type of person where I always try to turn a negative into a positive. So even though I'm sad and I'm grieving Sparky, I'm gonna turn to a positive, and I'm gonna lose weight for my buddy. I'm gonna lose about 100 pounds for him, and it's gonna be one heck of a transformation. Cause I mean, I'm already fat and cute, but when I start losing all this fat around my face, my neck, my body, it's gonna be one hell of a transformation. I think that's about it. So if you been with me this long, it's almost an hour long. So I hope I have entertained you at least, you know. And so yeah, I miss my buddy, but I think I'm making another Chihuahua next year. I don't know if I'm getting another I probably get another rescue, because rescues are so, I love them, man. You know, they're so adorable. And it's like they appreciate you. They appreciate being with you more than if you just get them from a breeder, you know. I think I may get another rescue. I want to give another Chihuahua a great life. A great spoiled life. But that's whatever Chihuahua I get will never replace the Sparkster. I'm gonna show pictures of his grave when his cross coming, because I got a cross coming for Sparkster, and I'm thinking of getting, it's a cross. They got like a dog sleeping at the end of the cross, and the dog kind of look like Sparky. So I said I may get that, or I may get it's a Jesus picture. It's a Jesus figurine with the dog at the bottom at Jesus' feet. I may get that. I don't know which one I'm gonna get, but I'm gonna get one of those to go with his cross. I got him a cross to go on his grave. It has his picture on it and some words of saying goodbye, and when he was born and when he died. He was born 2012. I don't know exactly the day and time he was born, because he's a rescue, but he was born in 2012 and he died this year, 2024. And he was brave. When he died, he was so brave. And he gave me that little smile like, it's okay. I'm gonna miss that little buddy. He was one of a kind. He was. But thank you for listening to this Video this long. This is not the end. I'm still talking about Sparkster. And blessings to you for listening, for almost being sitting down with me listening. So, and as I say after all my videos, peace, love, yes, love, and hair grease.